Quiero que prestes atención a este video, pero no cualquier atención, atención plena.
Mindfulness is actually a way of connecting with your life, and it's something that doesn't involve a lot of energy. It involves kind of cultivating attention in a particular way. So the way I define it is it's paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And then I like to add sometimes as if your life depended on it.
Para darte una introducción al concepto de atención plena, o mejor conocida como mindfulness por su nombre en inglés, es necesario que te hable de Jon Kabat-Zinn, pionero del estudio del mindfulness para fines clínicos. Jon Kabat-Zinn nació el 5 de junio de 1944 en Nueva York. Se graduó de la Universidad de Harvard con un doctorado en biología molecular y comenzó su carrera académica como científico investigador en el MIT. Sin embargo, su viaje personal lo llevó a explorar las intersecciones entre la ciencia, la salud y la espiritualidad, eventualmente conduciéndolo a fundar la clínica de reducción del estrés basado en mindfulness en el Centro Médico de la Universidad de Massachusetts en el año 1979.
I rapidly saw that I had to get into biophysics and then molecular biology in order to sort of really lay the foundation for any other work. But at the time that I was there were all sorts of people coming through town who were talking about meditation from one vantage point to another. And so I had the opportunity to really listen to them and hear how to approach consciousness, if you will, from the inside through traditions that are 5,000, 10,000 years old. So they might have something to say that would be relevant to the sort of scientific view of it, if you will, from the outside, and to try to understand how both of those might come together in a single person. So I started practicing meditation myself in those days. And over time, came to feel that no one was really looking, or very few people were looking with any kind of sort of scientific or medical orientation at the whole question about whether some of these more Eastern, quote-unquote, methods might not have some profound relevance in our lives in the West, and might not have something to show us that would be interesting to investigate scientifically.
Pero antes debió atravesar un proceso interno que lo llevó a entender cómo funcionan los pensamientos, las emociones y su conexión con el cuerpo físico. Es este proceso en el que debes enfocarte para conseguir resultados en tu vida utilizando el mindfulness como herramienta. El primer paso, y tal vez el más difícil, es entender que no eres tú el que piensa, sino que es una parte física de ti que lo hace. Al día nuestro cerebro procesa cerca de 60.000 pensamientos, muchos de ellos negativos hacia nosotros mismos, hacia la realidad o hacia los demás, pensamientos sobre el futuro o sobre el pasado, generando así una serie de emociones que hacen que actuemos de determinada manera. Ahora bien, si tú logras desprenderte de tus pensamientos, y no hablo de eliminarlos, sino observarlos, como si fueras un espectador, viendo cómo estos pensamientos surgen y se desvanecen ante tu observación, y si logras dejar que pasen sin emitir un juicio hacia ellos, estarás efectivamente practicando mindfulness. Para el Dr. Kabat-Zinn, el mindfulness no es una técnica. Si bien existen formas de cultivar el estado de atención plena, es más bien una manera de ser, de estar en equilibrio, de volver a enfocarte y recordar que lo único que ocurre realmente es el momento presente. Ese momento en el que logramos estar y ser, simplemente prestando atención plena.
So paying attention to what, you might ask? Well, it doesn't actually matter. It's the attending itself that's important, more important than what it is that you're paying attention to. But that said, if you start to pay attention to how much attention we pay to anything, you begin to notice that the mind is all over the place. It never sits still. It's got this idea and that opinion and this reaction, and we spend a huge amount of time planning and worrying about the future, and a huge amount of time reminiscing about the past and who did what to whom, or why it worked out this way, or why it didn't work out this way. And the present moment, which is the only time that we're ever alive in, the only time we could learn anything, express any kind of love or emotion, the only time we could be in our own body, the only time we can see or hear or smell or taste or touch or communicate, is now.
Si bien el hecho de ser observadores de nuestros pensamientos cultiva el mindfulness, la atención puede estar dirigida a cualquier cosa. No importa qué es lo que capta esa atención. Lo importante es que te traiga al momento presente. De hecho, ya has practicado el mindfulness cuando te enfocas en algo, como pintar, resolver un problema matemático, tocar un instrumento musical o cualquier cosa que requiera de tu atención plena en el momento presente. Lo importante aquí es hacerlo conscientemente y utilizarlo como herramienta. Cuando te descubras a ti mismo rumiando en tu cabeza, sobrepensando las cosas o con ansiedad, puedes relajarte prestando atención plena a tu respiración, sintiendo cómo el aire entra y cómo lo expulsas. Es posible que surjan pensamientos, de hecho lo harán, y robarán tu atención quitándola de la respiración. Todo lo que tienes que hacer es observar esos pensamientos, sin juzgarlos ni apegarte a ellos, para así volver tu atención a tu respiración. Con el tiempo esta práctica se hará más sencilla, hasta que la incorpores como un hábito. Entonces, lograrás volver conscientemente al momento presente en cualquier situación para así mantenerte en equilibrio. Jon Kabat-Zinn identificó 9 actitudes fundamentales que son esenciales para cultivar una práctica de mindfulness efectiva. Antes de mencionarlas, no olvides suscribirte y dejar tu like si te ha gustado el video. Nos ayudas a crecer y a seguir publicando. Déjanos un comentario para saber que llegaste a esta parte del video. Gracias. Sigamos con las 9 actitudes esenciales para cultivar el mindfulness. 1. Mente de principiante. Adoptar una mente de principiante significa estar abierto a experimentar cada momento con una mente fresca, como si cada experiencia fuera la primera vez que sucede, sin prejuicios ni expectativas preconcebidas.
In the mind of the expert, they say there are very few possibilities, but in the beginner's mind, there are infinite possibilities because we come to it fresh. So it's a kind of a discipline to try to bring beginner's mind to every aspect of your life and not be so stuck in our ideas and opinions about how much we like this or don't like that, or what the outcome of a particular situation might be.
2. Paciencia. La paciencia en mindfulness implica permitir que las cosas se desarrollen a su propio ritmo y aceptar las circunstancias tal como son, sin intentar forzar el cambio o resistirse a lo que está ocurriendo.
Certain things can't be hurried, but things do unfold in their own time. So if we actually learn to be patient with ourselves, then we're inhabiting the present moment in ways that have great comfort and great profundity of both acceptance and wisdom associated with them.
3. Mente de no juicio. Esta actitud implica observar las experiencias y pensamientos sin juzgarlos como buenos o malos, correctos o incorrectos. En lugar de ello, se trata de observar con aceptación y comprensión.
So when we speak of mindfulness as being non-judgmental awareness, it doesn't mean that there won't be judgments. It means that you will be aware of how judgmental we actually are, and then not judge the judging. And when we relate to it in that kind of a way, then we begin to see that our judging is very often black and white. It's either this or that, good or bad, like, dislike, want, don't want. And we get imprisoned by that kind of view. But being non-judgmental doesn't mean that all of a sudden you get stupid and think, well, I'm not going to be judgmental, so I'll just walk out in the street in front of an oncoming truck. What difference does it make? No, it means that we will cultivate discernment. This is the capacity to see what's actually unfolding, but not to judge it, but to recognize it and to understand it in relationship to our experience.
4. Confianza. La confianza en mindfulness se refiere a tener fe en tu propia capacidad para enfrentar los desafíos y las dificultades que surgen durante la práctica, así como en la eficacia del propio proceso de mindfulness para cultivar el bienestar.
Good place to start is with ourselves and with our body. So can we actually come to trust the natural wisdom of the body and how beautifully the body supports our life? We very often take it totally for granted until something untoward happens. But noticing that, in general, we can trust that the breath will take care of itself. Luckily, because if we had to worry about the breath, we would die a long time ago. So we trust that the breath comes in, we trust that the breath goes out, we trust that the ears can actually hear, we trust that the eyes will actually see, we trust that our organs take care of all of the metabolism and biology of being alive. There's a wisdom to the body that can remind us that we ourselves are trustworthy. And if there are so many beautiful things and so complex that are unfolding so beautifully in the body, well, why should the mind be any different? Why should the heart be any different? So the more we can learn to bring trust to ourselves, the more we can actually learn to bring trust to our relationships.
5. Aceptación. La aceptación en mindfulness implica reconocer y aceptar las experiencias, pensamientos y emociones tal como son, sin intentar cambiarlas o controlarlas.
Acceptance is a very active process. There's nothing passive about it. It's not passive resignation, but it's an active recognition that things are actually the way they are. Sometimes they're not the way we want them to be. So acceptance doesn't mean that we can't work to change the world or to change circumstances of one kind or another, but it means that unless we accept things as they are, we will try to force things to be as they are not, and that can create an enormous amount of difficulty. If we recognize the actuality of things, then we have the potential to apply wisdom in that situation to actually shift our own relationship to what is occurring in ways that might be profoundly healing and transformative. But without acceptance of one's situation, then it's very difficult to know where to stand, and without knowing where to stand, it's very difficult to take the first step.
6. Dejar ir. Esta actitud implica soltar la necesidad de aferrarse a las experiencias o emociones, permitiéndoles que fluyan y cambien naturalmente sin resistencia.
So letting go really means letting be. It means allowing things to be as they are, and not be too caught up in having to have them be a certain way when the evidence is they already are not that way. So therefore not forcing. It of course goes with not striving as well, allowing things to be as they are.
7. Sin esfuerzo. La actitud de no esfuerzo implica permitir que la práctica de mindfulness se desarrolle de manera natural, sin esforzarse demasiado ni tratar de alcanzar un objetivo específico.
In the cultivation of meditative awareness or mindful awareness, we take the unusual position for Westerners to actually not try to get anywhere else. This is what we call non-striving or even non-doing, to actually allow things to be held in awareness without having to operate on them, without having to make anything happen or try to experience some special state of either relaxation or well-being or anything, but to simply be with the unfolding of life from moment to moment without any agenda whatsoever.
8. Gratitud. La gratitud implica reconocer y apreciar conscientemente las cosas buenas que tenemos en nuestra vida, así como los momentos agradables y las personas que nos rodean. Al practicar el mindfulness con gratitud, cultivamos una mayor conciencia de las bendiciones presentes en nuestra vida, lo que puede aumentar nuestro sentido de bienestar y conexión con el mundo que nos rodea.
To bring gratitude to the present moment because, well, say, for one thing, just we're alive. We take that so much for granted. A little gratitude, wow, the body's working, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, my eyes work, my feet work, if, you know, the liver is working, the kidneys are working. I mean, we take so much for granted.
9. Generosidad. La generosidad en mindfulness implica cultivar una actitud de amabilidad y compasión hacia uno mismo y hacia los demás, reconociendo y honrando la interconexión entre todos los seres.
How powerful it is when you give yourself over to life and that you give other people what would make them happy. Not for yourself, not so that you can pat yourself on the back and say, I am a generous person, but because it gives joy to others. It enhances interconnectedness. You demonstrate that you care and that you are actually giving some time and attention and thought to someone other than yourself.
Hasta el próximo video. Gracias.